What's up, Pokemon community? It's Alexandra, Team Ga. Just finished second at the 1K event hosted by Great Escape Games in Sacramento. Shout out to T. Watson, Jess, and Ming for sacrificing their side of this so I could play some Pokemon. Yeah, and I just want to do a deck profile on the deck I piloted it. I was playing Lost Box, and I want to apologize to all of my fans out there that just love seeing me flexing max rarity. But sadly, because the format is still new and I was kind of in a rush to pick up some cards, and I pulled together the deck like as I got to the event, I still didn't have all the 60 cards I needed. Not all of these cards are max rarity, but there will be by the next time around. If I were to do good with this deck again, there will be max rarity by then. Huge shout out to Joel. He gave me this exact 60 to play. I asked him like on Monday, before the event, I was like, hey, so what's the move? And he sent me this list. Maybe I'll even post a screenshot of it. And so I was like, okay, we'll try that 60, card for card. We tested it a little bit, and I was like, okay, yeah, I feel confident in it. There's a lot of room for counterplay and comeback potential. So I was like, yeah, I think we can play this. It's unfortunate that he didn't believe in the deck list and he backed out like last second, the morning of the event. He played like a different list. But I was pretty confident in the list that he gave me there. I didn't even ask for the second list. I was like, we're just gonna play this, buddy. We're committed. So we play 4 Jirachi and 2 Zapdos. Again, every turn you just want to promote the Jirachi, Stellar Wish, and then when you're done, you just retreat with your 1 retreat cost with your skateboard, and you just go into the Zapdos. And in the mirror matches, it's who can take the. In a lot of matches, it's who can. We just win by attacking first. But no, in all seriousness, yeah, this deck is very reminiscent of Zapdos. So which is I think another reason why I'm enjoying to play it so much. All right. After that, you follow it up with 2 Sableye with 2 more Zapdos. Essentially, these come back in and then they take knockouts on anything that's less than 12 HP, or they clean up anything that you hit earlier with the other Zapdos. It's just like in Zapdos format. You just sometimes against a GX Pokemon, you just hit it once and like cool, we'll just tickle them a little bit, and then it's not. Then the second time around, you come back in, you play your electric powers, and you just knock them out. So yeah, you play 2 blue Zapdos and 2 purple Zapdos. I will consider playing a 3rd blue Zapdos. We'll get that in a moment. And then the supporting cast was 1 Monkey, 1 Drapion for the Mew matchup. Of course, it's just free. This card, as long as you have access to it at some point, it's just free. You spit onto a Genesect.
Yeah. Wow.
And then you just buy your time with the comfeys. You keep lost on stuff. You wait for them to leave an Mew in the active, and then you clean this up. You clean it up with Dynamic Tail, and sometime after that, you should have enough down Lost Zone cards where you could just Sableye the excuse me, the Genesect you hit earlier and the Oricorio, and you just call it a day. Oh, and of course the Manaphy for any Greninja matchup. Honestly, after that, it doesn't really matter. The pinging doesn't matter too much because no one's gonna ping you enough outside of Greninja. So, but you can't fall behind on these because they just take double comfy knockouts. So yeah, the Manaphy. And then for easy cleanups, after you hit them with the blue Zapdos, you have Radiant Charizard for 250. Honestly, this is just a cleanup by himself. This is Tapu Koko GX right here. With a Choice Belt, it just knocks out any V, and then the Snorlax to get in there. Also, it's really good for the mirror match. 1, because it has more than 11 HP, so it doesn't get out-code, and then you could just scoop it up when the chat. Yeah, you just scoop it up so that you essentially deny that attack, and you could just. That's one way to come back in the mirror, because in the mirror, if you're the person who takes the first knockout, you're like favored to win at that point. So yeah, this is why I play 2 bodies, just that way I can always promote one and then bench the other one. If they escape roll me, cool. Now you get to hit into this one. And then lastly, you played 1 Zeraora GX. Actually, just kidding. I was playing the Zeraora from Vivid Voltage that hits for 30 plus 80 if your Pokemon, the defending Pokemon's a V Pokemon. And it was just trying to cheese the Palkia players because then it would, with a Choice Belt that hits for 28. Or in the early game, if they try to like stun you with Intelion, you could just, without the Choice Belt, it does enough for a Lightning and a Colorless. So you could just hit them with that. It's a great combo potential. We'll get into it. Oh, obviously this is not the Zeraora I was playing. I had to borrow it from T. Watson, and since this is past the event, like I had to give it back, and mine copy hasn't shown up in the mail. Now for our supporters, we played full chorus. The most important win condition. It's how you get cards in the last one so that you can blue Zapdos turn 1 going second, because you do it, you drash it twice and then you hopefully hit into a chorus in one of those. And yeah, and you just chorus for 4 and then you retreat into the blue Zapdos. And then afterwards you just chorus like 2 or 3 times to get enough so you can use the purple Zapdos. And then once you chorus twice, then you don't need to chorus anymore, and then the backup engine is just Raihan, because all of our attackers are very low maintenance. So, and then you just Raihan for any missing piece, you know, a switch, the Pokemon, the energy, the second energy you need it for the Zeraora or the Charizard. Then yeah, Snorlax, then yeah, you just go with the Raihan. Of course, we played 1 Clara, 1 Roxanne, 1 Boss. Honestly, like, you don't really need the Boss, because in most matchups in the late game, when you do want a Boss, you just clean it up with the Galar Mine. Is that what it's called? Lost Mine? Lost Mine, my bad. You just Lost Mine for a game and you don't need to Boss. But sometimes it's cute because you can just Boss something to trap it in the active and you just keep pinging the board around it. I remember my round 2 matchup though. My opponent, I went second, and my opponent started like a comfey, or like something that told me that we're playing the Lost Box engine. And I flower selecting, and one of the cards was Boss and something else. And I'm thinking, dude, this is a mirror match. I need the other piece. I don't need the Boss. So I just banished I lost on my last Boss, my only Boss. And on turn 2, they benched a Goodra. And I'm thinking, it's an emergency. It's an emergency. Where did my Boss go? My Boss. Oh, yeah, but I don't know, a few selective matches, you don't really Boss. You just want to keep going with these. And then in the late game, you want a Clara or Roxanne. Clara, incredible clutch. I wish I would have played 2, a second one, just because it's kind of hard to see it off. You really want to see it in the late game, because you just get the Sable, it lets you get back the Sable Eyes, the Cramorants, or the Charizard and the Fire Energy, and you just bench those and manual attach the 1 basic energy you got off it, and then you can start swinging. And with 2 of them, then you could just recur that for prices 5 and 6, so that you could just keep knocking things out. And of course, because we play so little supporters, and it's important that we see them, we play 4 Pokegear so that we can see the cold rest, or increase our odds of seeing the cold rest in that turn 1, since he is so important to play that turn 1 to get us to that blue Zapdos range. Then for Pokemon Search, play a very small package, 4 Battle VIP Pass, 4 Quick Ball. Honestly, most of the time you only need to resolve 1, because you start whatever you start, and then you Battle VIP Pass for a double comfey, regardless of what you started. Even if you started comfey, most of the time I just Battle VIP Pass for double comfey. And then afterwards, for the second Battle VIP Pass, if I was lucky enough to get one, I would Battle VIP Pass because you don't need much for this in the first game. There's 3 options that you can play. You can either get Mankey, Manaphy, or Blue Zapdos. You would go for Blue Zapdos, Manaphy in like the mirror, just because you don't want to get, especially if you see like the water energy, that means to play Greninja and you don't want to get Greninja. So you would get these 2, or if it's a matchup where you're not gonna need the Manaphy, then you get these 2. But honestly, like this card underperformed. Yeah, no, it's just underperformed. I feel like I wouldn't play this card moving forward. There were some really, I guess it'll come up right now. So there were some cute plays where I was playing Doa Mirage Gate, and because you play so low energy counts, you would just Primate Wisdom in testing. I would attempt to resolve Mirage Gate, and I would notice that there were like two basic sidekicks in my deck and nothing else. I'm like, well, and then I would look at my hand and there'll be like a different grass energy, like a grass energy or something in my hand. I'm like, well, I could have just monkeyed it back into the deck just to make sure that I could resolve the Mirage Gate. So that's kind of cute. And then there was another cute play against the Mew player. I would just keep, using the monkey effect to put the Drapion back to the top of my, if I didn't leave the Mew active, the Mew VMAX in the active, it's not a good idea to go in with the Drapion. You want to use it to knock out the VMAX. So whenever that was just not leaving in the active or it wasn't its time, I would always use the monkey to put this back on top of my deck so that in case they Marnied me, I still had access to it. And sure enough, they would just try to Marnie me, but because the card you put at the top of the deck is secret, They didn't. I guess they were just hoping for the best, but I always had access to it for whenever they would leave the Mew VMAX in the active. But yeah, 2 Mirage Gate. Honestly, I didn't like this card. Every time I saw it in the early game, I was just like, well, that's another card for Chorus to banish or for Flowers to get lost on off the Flowers. Just because I was like, yeah, we're not getting to it. And it's really not that important. It's only really cute when you're trying to set up plays with the Snorlax. I mean, let's bring it back. The Snorlax and the Charizard, because they require more than 2 energy. If it's just 2 energy or less, then you could just right-hand manual to it. But these two guys require more than 2 energy. So then there was some argument where you could just, Mirage Gate to them and take a KO out of nowhere, or you'll be able to use a different supporter with Raihan besides Raihan. But no, yeah, I think maybe 1, and at that point, if you're just playing 1, why you even playing 1 at all for something that's so hard to find like Mirage Gate? So I feel like if I were to play this deck moving forward, I would find a way to not have to play these, just because they didn't help all that too much. And then 2 choice belts to round off your damage. Honestly, there were a lot of times, especially against Kyurem, that I felt I needed a 3rd one, just because with the Zeraora takes a KO on Palkia if you have the choice belt, or on Intelion without the choice belt. But against Kyurem, if you hit it for like the Snorlax for 18, or even 21 with the choice belt, then you need the choice belt on the Zeraora or the Cramorant to finish the game off, to finish the job. Otherwise, you're 10 damage short. And I just felt greedy every time in the finals matchup. I felt like I needed to save the 2nd choice belt for the Zeraora so that they could take an Oko on the pocket when it did come through. In hindsight, I probably should have just done the choice belt and knock out the Kyurem and then just keep it, and then try to figure out the rest as pieces went. But I didn't get that much testing with the deck, so I wasn't too familiar with that. I didn't know that was the correct line. In hindsight, now I know that's the correct line. So maybe a 3rd choice belt isn't even needed. And then, of course, because we play comfey, you have to find ways to switch the comfey out of the active. So we play 4 scoop up net, 3 ropes, 2 balloons. Honestly, the 2 balloons is actually excessive. You don't need 1. You sometimes need 1 just because it's nice to always have a free retreater up on the active. But a lot of the times what you need to do, or I guess we'll just get into it right now. Move this out the way. This is the energy count. We played 3 Psychic, 2 Fire, 2 Lightning, and 1 Twin Energy. Now the Twin Energy was for a really cute play where you would bench the Snorlax or the Charizard, and then you would Raihan an energy to it, and then you could just manual the Twin Energy to complete the attack. Obviously, that would fulfill all of Snorlax, but not all the way for Charizard. But I mean, if they took 2 prizes, which most of the time they did, you were in a good spot because you would just attack with Blue Zapdos, that you could just do this play in the late game. Or you could just do that with the Mirage Gate. But honestly, I find that this play, the play where you just Raihan and then you search for a Twin Energy, a lot more cute and useful, and it comes up more often. It came up very often where I would like do that play with the first Snorlax and then knock it out, like cool. And I would have the Raihan and a way to get the Snorlax back, and I'd be like, oh, well, I can't do that play no more because I don't have another Twin Energy. So yeah, I think a 2nd Twin Energy will be necessary for the deck just so you can do this kind of cute plays. Oh yeah, but what I was getting into, a lot of the times you'll start off a Pokemon in the active that's not comfey, or sometimes it is comfey. But because it's your first turn, or sometimes it's hard to dig for those switching options, you want to manual attach to the active to retreat it, because then having that 1 energy in the discard pile sets you up so you can Raihan in future turns. So at least on that first turn, manually, and because you don't need any energy for the Blue Zapdos, I find myself choosing to manual retreat rather than playing the air balloon. Even though I had an air balloon in my hand, I would just still manual retreat just so I can get the energy into the discard pile and turn on the Raihan for following turns. So yeah, 1 balloon I think 1 balloon is fine. Obviously, like you want to sometimes be able to find it, but it's like a skateboard. Forget the name of the card. Escape rope. Nope, not escape rope. Skateboard. Skateboard from Jirachi. You would play the Jirachi and you would skateboard so you could just retreat. But most of the time, since you were playing 4 Switch, 4 Escape Ropes, and 4 Guzmas, you actually didn't need the board. Wow, can't believe I'm blanking on the name. But yeah, just one will do fine. And then lastly for reoccurrence, I played 1 Training Court, 2 Ordinary Rod. Honestly, considering the changes I'm thinking of making to the deck in the first place, just taking out the Zeraora because it didn't come in clutch, and just increasing the twin energy, I feel like maybe this could just get replaced by a second Clara. That way you could just always get them back in the lake and back to your hand instead of having to recycle them back into the deck and then, you know, search for them. Yeah, that's all 60. Hope you learned something.